Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Secret Base figure preview video. Before we get started, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and for snapping these awesome high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love down in the comments below, because without him, this series literally would not be possible. Now, if you're looking to pre-order your very own copy of The Dark Knight Returns Batsy, I've included some links in the description for Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new comic book Batman figure preview video goes live on the channel. If we ever actually get another one. This was a huge surprise for me. Yes, we've seen like SSR make The Dark Knight Returns Batman, and Rovenick Studio has made countless variations of him. I never thought in my wildest dreams that they would tackle this. At least not under the Hot Toys brand name. Maybe Hono Studios, that would have been possible. But they went all in. This is a proper Hot Toys release. I'll get stuck into why I think that's the case in just a second. You're not going to see me sitting here complaining about this figure. This is a dream piece for me. I own the Rovenick Studios customs. But there's something special about a real deal 1/6 scale licensed version of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns Batman in 1/6 scale, and that's exactly what this is. I don't read comics, I don't own any comics really, except for one. I've got one single CGC slab. It's a 9.6 graded first edition Dark Knight Returns #1. That's how much I love this story for Batman. So, immediately, you already know I'm all in on this. When it comes to accessories, we get 4 Batarangs. You can wedge them between his fingers, so you can make it look like he's got Batarang claws. Love that. And we get a much bigger Batarang that's not really a Batarang at all. This is like a grappling hook line. There's a rope attached to it. In terms of hands, a full array. And they've got a really nice level of detail on them. We've got leather grain texture, some musculature poking through with the sculpt work, simulated pulling and stitching. Then they've hit them with some speckling of brown paint to make them look a little bit muddy and dirty and grimy. They've continued that paint app onto the gauntlets too. You'll see that when we pan up to the actual figure. Now, my question for y'all is, do you prefer black and grey suit Batman like what this is? Or are you partial to a bit of blue action? Blue with the yellow background bat symbol. I'm hoping we get the blue, and a battle-damaged version in the future. We get some swap-out mouth plates though, a grinning one which is all kinds of creepy, and the teeth are so well sculpted and painted. It looks like there's a subtle translucency to them. They could be faking that with shading, that's possible. We'll just have to wait and see when this guy releases. I'm tempted to go with that smile. The angry screaming one is dope too, but that smiling sculpt is so unique. How often do we get smiling Batman figures? How often do we get comic book Batman figures? Pretty much never from them. I'm thinking that this could be the start of something. If this is pre-ordered well, then we could see Superman, maybe Carrie Kelly Robin, the Joker. Then they could branch out to other Batman comic book stories. Hush, Nightfall, the sky is the limit. As long as they sell enough of these for it to make sense to them. Now the boots. They look awesome. Single piece sculpts, leather grain texture, wrinkling the works. However, something that's missing, perhaps? No split cut design? Yeah, I'm not sure how good or terrible these are going to be for articulation. There could be some really sturdy hinge and swivel joints for his ankles in those boots, and they might be made out of softer rubber for all we know. I will give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. They surely can't be planning on giving him no articulation at the ankles. For a Batman figure in a full cloth outfit, that would be ludicrous. So let's just operate on the assumption that there will be some sort of ankle articulation. I will be genuinely surprised if we get this guy and there's nothing for the boots at all. His belt is sculpted plastic, no pleather, no real leather either, but it looks real. Like, that stitching is so HD, and that leather grain texture is so convincing. I did a double take when they announced this. I thought, oh shit, that's pleather again. But no, you zoom in, it's got this subtle PVC plastic sheen about it. Thank goodness, no pleather. The suit is subtly dirty in certain areas. The bat symbol, you can see on either side, has some dirt and grime speckled there, but in between his abs, on his pecs, just peppered around the place. They've used some shading and they've used some brown paint to sell the fact that maybe this Batman was just battling the mutant leader in a mud hole, or he's on the way there. However your headcanon wants to explain it, there is some weathering on Batman's outfit. The way they've done the muscles for the torso, it looks gel padded. Like there's a gel layer of musculature that's been sculpted and cast in that material, which has been fused to the outer layer for the fabric suit. That means so much muscle definition, like it looks awesome, but not much articulation for the abs. Think BVS Batman 1.0. When you crunch him forward, it buckles and it doesn't want to go. That's what I feel like this guy is going to feel like. But then again, I could be worrying about nothing. Another thing we'll just have to wait and see on when this guy drops. The gloves are a split-cut design with the gauntlets. The gauntlets will free float around so you can adjust them and slide them over the wrist pegs to cover the gap. And would you look at that, he comes with his sniper rifle. So in The Dark Knight Returns, he uses this to shoot a line from one building to the other. Then he tightrope walks across it. This isn't really a rifle at all. It's like a grappling hook rifle. So for those of you who have never read the books or seen the animated movies, which I suggest you do, because those movies are fantastic. RoboCop, Peter Weller as Batman. What more could you ask for an old grisly version of Bruce? Check them out, then you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to the rifle. Yes, this is an older, grumpier, jaded version of Batman, and he does use a gun in the story. But not this one and not like that. It would have been sick if they could have included the LMG that you could have had him holding with one arm, because this Batman can do that. Doesn't matter, I'll find one on AliExpress or something and I'll make it happen in the review. He will be holding that LMG. Let's discuss his head sculpt. The texture on the cowl is perfect, that leather grain look. We've got the really intense furrowed brow sculpted in. And he's got these super tiny little bat ears, which is accurate to The Dark Knight Returns. The way the mouth plate juts up on the corners there, that's a very thin piece of PVC plastic. For the prototype, the tolerances are spot on. There's no gapping for the mouth plate, and I'm praying that that's going to be the case for the final production version. I'm surprised that they let this design for the bat cowl slip through into the final version of the prototype, because like I said, those pieces are freaking tiny. There's skin texture for the mouth plate, really big, exaggerated cleft chin, plenty of wrinkling because this is an older version of Batman, and all three mouth plates work with this cowl's built-in expression. So I'm going to have a very tough time deciding which head sculpt mouth plate combo I'm going to go with. The cape is permanently attached, I believe. It's wired, so that's a nice bonus. It's pleated over his shoulders, but I'm not quite sure about how it sits over the base of the cowl like that. In the books, it was a single piece cowl, neck piece, and cape. It was all made of fabric. The leather grain texture is more of a modern take on the Dark Knight Returns suit aesthetic, and I'm here for it. The Sideshow Premium Format statue I have, it has the leather grain texture on the cowl. The XM Studios quarter scale Dark Knight Returns Batman I have also went the same route. So long story short, Hot Toys are not the only ones doing it this way. Aesthetically speaking, he's not perfect. He's not panel for panel accurate to The Dark Knight Returns. But he's very close. The body is absolutely massive. This is a beefcake version of The Dark Knight. For those of you who don't know, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, I apologize. I said I would discuss this in a second, why this is not a Hono Studio figure. Took me a bit longer than just a second, but we'll do it now. The most expensive thing about figure manufacturing is not the fabric. That's actually the cheapest. Patterns, tailoring, inexpensive. It's R&D and mold costs. Making a new body like this is incredibly expensive. Yes, they did that for Hono Studio Wolverine, but how many of them have they released now? Or announced? 3. So they can get their money's worth out of the mold. They can split the costs between those 3 versions. There's no telling if this is going to be the only time we ever get to see this body used for a Batman figure by them. I'm hoping that's not the case, but it's possible. They've also included 3 mouth plates, the rifle, batarangs, the sick-looking base, Dark Knight Returns licensing fees, not sure how much that's going to cost. That is why I believe this is a proper Hot Toys release versus Hono Studio. Not stripped back, not simplified, they went all out on this. I'm so happy they did. Now, if you're looking to pre-order him, I've popped a link to Pop Collectibles in the description below. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection down there for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. While you're down in the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.